Welcome back. So we'll be starting with the nation. Sultan, Christian Association of Nigeria, upbeat on peaceful 2023 elections. Federal government seeks UN funding for 2023 polls census. Aragbeshola's men seek return to APC, dissolve group. Morocco rose into World Cup quarterfinals. Tinubu, I'm a candidate to beat. That's why attacks are coming. Buhari reappoints 2 CBN deputy governors, HOS for Osun. CBN limits cash withdrawal to 100,000 naira weekly. Company to draw not above 500,000. Experts speak on Apex Bank's policy. Daughter sets parents ablaze in Lagos. Wike knocks federal government on East-West Road. What stories do we have in the nation?
Okay, let me talk the major headline. So it's Tinubu, I'm candidate to beat. So the APC presidential flag bearer in an interview with BBC Africa, answering questions, he described himself as the candidate to beat in the next year's election. He said that there's no contender who is his match. He was specifically asked about the main opponents, opposition, that's PDP and LP, and he says that they have they do not have the track record that he has. He talked about what he's done in Lagos State, and he says that he expressed optimism that next year's polls will be free and fair. He said that he's also the front runner. That's why he's getting a lot of arrows and attacks. He says his priorities are security, economic recovery, to accelerate development, to get Nigerians employed, and to get inflation down. He talked about monetary policy. He says it needs to be changed. And then he said that subsidy needs to be decided upon and then removed. There's so many other things, I guess, when you read the paper, you'll see.
Okay. What are the
CBN have brought new one today. According to them, there's a new monetary policy, and under this policy, there's a revised cash withdrawal limit for not only cash withdrawals, also for ATMs and POS and check-based transactions. We now only can withdraw 100,000 as an individual in a week, and 500,000 for SMEs in a week. So you can spread yours for 20,000 daily limits for cash withdrawals and POS transactions, and they also extended this to about they also extended it to compel all ATMs to be loaded with only 200 naira and below. So they are compelling us to usually when you have bulk withdrawals at the ATMs, you want 1,000 naira dispensation, but or dispensing of 1,000 naira denomination. But now from 200 naira below, that's what
they're going to provide.
Be providing at the ATMs. And they also, put a limit to the third-party checks above 50,000 shall not be eligible for payment over the counter. But they allow the 10 million limits for earlier place on clearing the checks. So going forward, it's going to be a bit tight.
But it's good what they are doing, I think, because they're trying to.
So it's very laudable.
No. If you look at the new currencies, they are just trying to avoid people stashing money all over again, especially this period.
Yes.
No, it's
not. No, but it's good. But they did not take care. Certain factors are going to disturb, limit people, and even compel more hardship. Banks are not opening up on the fact that they can no longer conclude or finish up transactions on daily basis.
I get you, but let's
so failed transactions, reversals are taking forever. All those things.
We'll look at it next week.
Please, let's look at it too, because it is not...
It's Thursday, and I know people like to gist on Thursday. Why can't you have a story? Let's move on.
It's not a gisting matter.
It's a look at it very well.
You have not implemented... all the...
We look at
tidy up
no, your ATM card, and it will not work.
Yes.
Then you don't have cash.
Those are the issues.
When you go and buy petrol now, do you know when you go and buy petrol, they will ask you, are you paying with POS or cash?
Yes.
If you tell them POS, you will pay before you fill your tank.
Because you may hook. Because yes, my money has been hanging. But do you have a story in the nation? Let's move on.
It was the one, the girl that set her parents ablaze. It's at the bottom of the
paper.
Nation.
Yeah, she had she sedated her parents, her 85-year-old father and his wife, and 80-year-old wife, and set them ablaze.
Yeah.
So the police
No
are
reason.
just... No, they don't need the reason.
So, and then she's 52 years old.
She's 52 years old.
What's she doing in the house?
Now you call her
We
daughter.
don't know if she lives with them.
We don't know, yes. But
When
we
you
are-
said
she
it,
accepted
the way
them.
the headline is, I thought it was like a 15-year-old
Hey,
girl.
that
Big
did that.
mistake.
So it's a 52-year-old.
This one not be daughter, this one an adult.
Yes,
Yes,
she
now in fact,
sedated them. So she planned it, pre-planned it, and then she said, anyway, I think
meditated.
we'll hear from the police.
Yeah. Okay, so Nigeria needs extra budgetary funding for the next year's general election and population census. This is according to the Finance, Budget and National Planning Minister, Mrs. Zainab Ahmed. He said that yesterday. And she also said that global rating agencies were insensitive to the current challenges and peculiarities of Nigeria and other developing nations around, that they have been using the same standard to judge the country, irrespective of how everything has moved for a very long time. They also said they have tried as much as possible to cooperate with companies like Fitch, Moody's, Standard and Poor, that's S&P. And the ratings were not considerate in the assessment of the circumstances surrounding Nigeria. And this is one of the reasons why we're not able to get loans at a cheaper rate, because they're still rating us different from the realities that we are going through. And so this is an appeal that we need funding, especially for our polls that will be coming up in 2023 very soon. So let's move on quickly now to the Punch. Diaspora Nigerians sue INEC over poll. Train attack victims demand federal government compensation. Queues grow. Ex-depot price hits 235 naira per litre. Some people are buying 260. Nigeria, others facing huge debt crisis, says World Bank. Companies panic as CBN slashes withdrawal limits. Nima has taken that. Lagos OK's hijab for schools. PFN preaches peace. Soldier with fibroid tortured for attempting to resign. Federal government sets up panel to probe all theft. What stories do we have in the Punch?
Okay, quickly, let me take the hijab story. So, the Lagos State Secretary, sorry, I'm trying to get Murio Konla's office again, just quickly. The head of service, Mr. Hakim Murio Konla, has eventually signed a directive, a circular, to all key offices in Lagos, starting with that of the deputy governor, the chief judge of the state, the secretary of the state government, commissioners and PAs, permanent secretaries of all the ministries within Lagos, to effect a June 17th Supreme Court judgment that, that okayed the use of hijab across schools. That, it's an abuse of the rights, and the court upheld the rights of Muslims to cover their head. It's a choice that they've made, and Lagos is just effecting that directive now. So they're not giving us any gifts. They're just following the court order. We've peacefully gone to court and gotten that order with patience.
You are not smiling. They say they're not giving you any gift.
It's not a gift.
They've done something now.
If a Supreme Court judgment that should have been immediately enforced, they try. Thank you.
There's this soldier who was she has fibroids and she had been tortured for attempting to resign. Her name is Philomena Namako. She said she joined the army in 2009. In 2017, she developed fibroids, and she wrote a letter to say she wanted to go for leave. She said then the next day or the same day in the night, she was tying her wrapper when she met her superior. That one said he didn't greet her properly. And she said, I'm sorry. While she was apologizing, he now beat her till her wrapper came off. He was transferred the next day to Abeokuta. So someone now said she should go to Abeokuta, I think, to go and beg him. She was locked in the guard room for 4 weeks. She was released to go back to Ijebu after 4 weeks. Then her medical condition was getting worse. She went to her commanding officer, and he refused to give her a pass to go to the hospital. She said she found her way to the Onabanjo University Hospital, and she was receiving treatment. She was scheduled for an operation on the 29th of 2017. Early that morning again, she heard a knock on her door. The soldiers came in. 7 soldiers came in, grabbed her, and put her in the guard room again.
For just wanting to resign?
The story is very, it's something that I think the army should really look into.
Yes, I would like to hear from them.
Yeah. Yes, because
Need them to respond.
she says she went to Army Legal, and they have said she said they should forgive her, but the Nigerian Army Major Olani Yoshoba has said he's not aware of the matter,
So he's
and
the
has advised her
spokesperson.
to see him.
So it's the spokesperson for let's just mention that they've responded, it's one division Nigerian Army, and he says that she has not exhausted all administrative procedures.
Before
and
going
so they have to look into her complaint.
So Miriam had a story.
Yes, so the train attack victims are demanding federal government compensation. As we all remember, the Kaduna-Abuja train has resumed duties, and so the kidnapped victims are asking that the federal government, give them some sort of compensation. Many of them said since this happened, they said government made some promises that it has not kept, and that for a lot of them, they lost their means of livelihood while they were held in captivity. A lot of them are suffering from depression, psychological disorder, and they require urgent medical attention. I am so sad, right, that they have to come out to ask for these things. Remember, there were teenagers among them, young people among
babies.
them, much older people. I can't believe that they have to come out to remind government to give them the medical attention that they need. A lot of them said they lost their means of livelihood. Please, can we just do something? They shouldn't have to come out and talk about
68 of them.
Especially that proper evaluation.
The medical attention is number one.
Yes, you would think
that
that
proper
they would get
evaluation,
that.
psychological evaluation. Okay, Nigerians living in the United Kingdom and various parts of the world who have attained voting age are dragging President Muhammadu Buhari and INEC together, saying that they want to enforce their right to be able to vote. So they have taken the matter to the Federal High Court in Abuja, and they are citing some sections of the Constitution saying that it gives them that right to vote. So INEC must find a way to include them in the voters register and biodata, and that's the only way they will be able to vote. And if this does not happen, that means that Nigeria has violated their own human rights. And so they also said that Nigeria has enough time, INEC has enough time before the elections to include them in that biodata. So they are waiting. I think Justice Iyang Eko is going to be hearing the suit, and it will happen January 19, 2023. So let's see how that goes. Let's move quickly to Vanguard. 2023 elections won't make or mar Nigeria if Sultan, Khan, and SGF. NBA boycotts call to bar ceremony over Olanipeku's refusal to resign. Nigeria spent $9.6 billion to service foreign debts in 12 years, World Bank. CBN limits cash withdrawals to 100,000 naira weekly. We've taken that. Investors' interest remains strong. 2023 polls, I won't allow manipulations, Buhari vows. What stories do we have in the Vanguard?
Okay, let me take the law school drama.
Please.
A friend of mine was even at the call yesterday. She's not a lawyer. She was so disappointed in us lawyers at the way they comported the event. But the NBA chairman, the national chairman, Mr. Yakubu Meyaku, has continued with something his predecessor started. So his predecessor had, asked that the senior advocate of Nigeria, Wole Olanipekun, steps down as the chairman body of benchers while he was being investigated over an issue that happened where Ms. Adekunbi Ogunde, one of his counsels within his firm, had indicted him in a indicted the firm in a corruption-related issue where she said that they could influence the judgment of a case they were handling in a mail sent out. And, these sort of things, when it's being investigated, you cannot have the person being investigated sit as the head of such a body, as the body of the benchers within the practice. So, but Wole Olanipekun has refused to step down, and he did not step down. He refused to step down as the chairman of the body of benchers, and so he continued. And now the body of benchers has a serious role to play when call to bars happen. And so he, as chairman body of benchers, was going to oversee that call to bar. The NBA boycotted that. They said they had written to the body of benchers, and that the body of benchers had a meeting where the letter ought to have been distributed in hard copy to all members of the body, and that it wasn't distributed. It wasn't even acknowledged or regarded. That's according to the chairman. But I have two other lawyers who are saying that he's on a personal mission. And I'm disappointed because, you see, sometimes our silence do not see bad thing or inaction is what fuels it.
What
But
was their own opinion?
these two lawyers are saying that he's on a personal mission. They do not see any seriousness in the allegations on ground.
Wow.
We are not saying that,
No,
you know...
but Nima, they also said the lawyer at the center of the storm, the Mrs. Adekumbi,
Yes,
she
has resigned.
She has resigned and she has taken full responsibility
Responsibility for it.
She's claiming that
I've heard that.
the
was
firm
a
didn't
mistake.
even know.
So Ms. Ogunde is a staff. It's like me being a staff here now. I do something that, you know, warrants the investigation of this station. And the station has the chairman of the station as the person who will decide.
Who will investigate you?
No, who will decide the innocence or not of it. At that point, what you do is step down, allow other people who are separate
For neutrality.
and neutral
But you
to
know
that
it's a matter of
investigate
opinion.
it. And when they Miriam, it's a presumption of law.
Story here?
No,
So
but
when
he-
that matter
what
is
decided,
given,
he's just
Okay, let's
the
move on.
chairman
He's
of
not
the-
our
he's
husband.
influential. He should step aside. He should recluse himself
well,
until the matter is
he
settled.
has
Nobody
said
has
he takes full
indicted.
responsibility.
Nobody
It has
has
nothing to do with the firm.
convicted him of anything. Nobody. They are investigating. You say for you to be transparent enough. Nobody is saying anything
Okay, so
more.
the Nigeria
I know it's not our
Interreligious Council, NIREC, under the joint leadership of the Sultan of Sokoto, Alhaji Saad Abubakar III, and the president of the Christian Association of Nigeria, Archbishop Daniel Oko, yesterday are rejecting claims by prominent citizens and other Western nations saying that the 2023 elections may make or mar Nigeria. And they're saying these statements are so unfounded. Elections will happen. People will step out of their houses, go and vote, and go back home. That it's only God and Allah that decides who is going to be the president of the country, and it's not going to bring any form of disintegration. So the Christian Association of Nigeria went ahead to say that why some of these people are saying things like this is because for a very long time our elections have been very abnormal. There's a lot of violence, you know, people are so afraid to step out, and young people are there being used to carry out one mayhem or the other, and that's why people are sort of skeptical about this particular election, but that the federal government needs to do more in ensuring Nigerians that we can actually step out, vote, and come back home. The final paper for today, the Nigerian Tribune. NULGE challenges Buhari to track federal government's allocation to local governments from 2015 to 2023. Lagos government to enforce Supreme Court ruling on use of hijab in schools. We've taken that. Reps kick against federal government's decision to halt $14.4 billion East-West Rail Line project. 25 million Nigerians may face food crisis by August 2023. Muslim ticket won't work. APC has failed Northern and Shagari. What stories do we have?
5 million Nigerians may face food crisis. So the Food and Agriculture Organization of the United Nations estimated that about 25.3 million Nigerians are in danger of experiencing food crisis between June and August of 2023, unless the country takes urgent steps to scale up and sustain the livelihood, and food assistance. The report that was made, the analysis was made in a report of October 2022, and it shows that 70 million people, including the internally displaced people and those who have returned to about 25 states and the Federal Capital Territory, were in crisis or worse level through October 2022. Also shows that 3 million are living in Borno, Adamawa, and Yobe states. Anyway, suffice to say, there are interventions already going on with the Royal Kingdom of Norway, and there are interventions, you know, to help with this.
Okay.
And
yes.
we hope that a lot of Nigerians will benefit from this intervention.
Yes, so as we go, the president, Buhari, has accused some governors of stealing locations meant for the local government. Allocations meant for them. And, you know, the Nigerian Union of Local Government Employees is now challenging the president to track all the money sent to the federal government. I think 774 of them from 2015 to 2023, since he has said that, I think in one of their posts, they said nothing less than 80 to 100 million is being allocated to them regularly. So he has to track it. Let's find out who is eating the money that should have been used for developing rural areas. That's all we can take on the newspaper review. When we come back, we move on to other topics.